Hi, everyone. It's Saturday here in the USA, and we're going to go through, this is considered advanced Hong Kong with the students and anyone else that's been tuning in. If you're a Lam family, this could be interesting to you. If you're just tuning in because you're looking for Hongga and you don't have it in your neck of the woods, something that we're doing, and it's remotely teaching some lessons. Obviously, these are classes for my students, and they're all home because we're on shutdown right now, but I want you to know that I'll probably go through segments of the form, not the complete form, and bring out some of the highlights that's important. So what's the difference between beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and then sort of mastery? It's really the timing, the skill level, the structural integrity of your positions. So as you evolve, one of the most important things is accuracy of movement. The integration of body is how your body is working in a synchronized way to produce the power. Because in Kung Fu and any martial art, where does the power come from, and what's the important part of generating the striking force? And the striking force is generated from speed in the movement. So, speed is very important because at the time of impact, it has to be in acceleration mode. And then on impact, there's great penetration. So that's what we try to do, is create a lot of speed through an execution. But you can't, this is very important, that you cannot produce fast movement and powerful movement at the end of the movement if your body has stiffness or actually blockages. So if you're throwing your punches and you have too much tension in the shoulder, that's one of the things that you have to get rid of, okay? If you have tension in your legs from just doing stance work without stepping, you're going to be not very agile on your feet, and you can't transition fast enough. So those are all ideas, and when you go through your forms, that's something that you have to kind of bring into your concept. So this is important in your fist form as well in the weaponry. Later on, I'm going to go through a few of the drills that you might be able to use to supplement your training with the staff form. Although styles like modern Kung Fu goes very, very fast, and that's because they train to be that fast and quick on their feet. There's a lot of running and a lot of spectacular movement, but that's what they practice and that's what they train in, but not necessarily totally effective when it comes to the application of the movement or the structural integrity of position. Most of the Hongga movements are working within this space. Okay, so we're working within that space. What is important? We're protecting these areas within the body, and we're also learning how to use our strength. So like in Fu Hawk, when the hand comes out, and it comes up, and it crosses over, and it pushes out, you're defining the direction of your movement. And what it is, movements go forward and back, and they go right, up and down, right and left, and that's what you're trying to build into your system to know that this is how our body moves. When the hand goes down like this, something comes in, you have to lift, you have to intercept, and then you have to cut, and then you have to push. So while you're first learning and memorizing the sequence, that's an isolated arm movement. You say, well, I'm only using one side. There's not a lot happening on the other side. But that's not true. Because if you're standing here while you're moving, your body on this side is still connected to this side. So when you're moving, you have to focus. Your body will adapt, and it knows that this is still something you're conscious of. So the consciousness of your movement is being mindful. And when you set up your positions, you have precise motions. And this is one of the unique characteristics of the style that we do, simply because throughout the movement, we have structure. Now, how your body responds and how it connects to the feet is very important, because eventually the strength and energy of the movement goes from the ground up to your body, and you move, and you do this. So your feet actually are standing here. You have about 3.5 inches apart between the feet, and your feet, although they're gripping, your strength actually comes from the bottom up. So from the ankles up to the top of your head, you should be pretty relaxed. You shouldn't stand here and then feel like you're going to be stiff and tense your abs and feel like you have to have a very rigid body. You're going to train the wrong way, your body's not going to be flexible. You have to adapt to the space within the movement. If you don't practice so that the whole body learns to respond, and it's a response, that's something that happens over time. Now, the ability to get that to happen really varies with an individual, and it varies with your training. When we go into a stance and we shift and shift. Now I'm doing it with my right foot first. That was with the sink. Now why did the hand cross here? Because in the application, when something comes here, your hand has to drop. Has to drop. In training the form, you're just working for the motion and keeping it balanced and even. When you go to the side, your body has to turn. So in a form, this is the movement, but you have to tie it together with how your legs are working. So the coordination, when you move the body, has to be circular. When you go out and you open, this should be eyebrow level. When you scoop, cross hands, should be your center. Lift, grab, thrust, sink, turn. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, in this position. About the chin height, this one, your body form should be here. But it's in this position to the corner. 1, 2. So this is low block, grab. So when you grab, this drops. This is going to straighten. Turn. Grab. Turn. So those are what I call the phases in the movement. Within a transition, it's not just a circle. It's tied to your legs, it's tied to your torso, tied to the alignment of this palm strike. Your palm strike should go to the center, coming up. Doesn't go beyond like this. That's reaching outside of your strength parameters. So when you're here, should be here. Because if you think about it, if you block and you strike, if you block here, your opponent would be here. It's not there. So when you do your form, why would you do this? That's reaching. You reach your limit of your power, and then what happens? You either reach or you start to lose position. Because if you're blocking here and it's this close, boom, that's where your focus of power should be. So, a lot of this is kind of logical. It's kind of, self-explanatory. But yet when you do the form, you may not be focusing and understanding that that's sort of the parameters of your movement. So everything we're learning, you have to know the limits of your movement. You can't be overextending. It can't be too soft. It can't be deficient. Like when you sink your wrists, it can't be just like that. You have to drop your elbows first. So sink the elbow, relax the shoulder is not only in Tai Chi, it's also in Hung Gar, and it's also in many, many other styles. It just so happens that it's a common technique, sink the elbow, relax the shoulder, and thrust. So when you thrust, you have to align your fingers and your body, sink the elbow and relax. So that's sinking the elbow, relax the shoulder. So Hung Gar, sink the elbow, relax the shoulder, align the bridge with the shoulder, thrust, shoulder height. And we do that not because that's the only place we poke. We do that to establish the standard of the neutral position for each one of these. And then everything else becomes a variant of that. So why do we do that? Because when we practice, we have to know what we're striving for. Then we can differentiate, know the difference between the two. If I thrust here, 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 you don't set up a standard to know what that's supposed to be like or what it feels like. So we throw a punch here, 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 here. So we know that that's a standard. So once we know that, if we want to change it to a higher position, it just goes there. So the motion is critical, and the sort of that standard is important. And then the variant of that really is your target. And where does the target go? The target goes to where the visual alignment is. So when my eyes look at that, my hands will go there. So then once you gaze in that direction, so that's like shooting an arrow. When I look at the target and I release, I have to let it follow through. I can't draw like this or draw like this and then look over there. Then the hand is not going to go where it's supposed to go. So when you practice your form, when you move, the important point is the target is here. It has to go right to that point. And then you have accuracy, because when you face someone, the punch is going to go there. It's not going to go there, there, there. So you already trained your body mechanics to go to the alignment of your position. So when you move, it's always going to be set up so you have your centerline position and your shoulder and body position. That's exactly what happens. It doesn't matter if it's tiger claws or punches or fingertip thrusts or chops. Everything goes right to that alignment of the center body. So from here, well, you have this. Well, what about when you're here? This is the same, but it's just this small profile. How about this? That's a smaller profile. But the thing is, it's the same. Because why? Because this is my space. If something comes into my space, that's where it has to go. If it doesn't come into my space, say the punch is over here, why would I reach for that? You don't. You just stay here. So if it's going over there, you don't have to deal with that. You just go over here. So that's why, it's important to get perspective of your space and the relative position. So that's the idea. So when we're here, say we're here, pull down, thrust, sink. When this hand goes here, we're like this. When this hand goes there, it's like this. When we turn like this, we have this. The hands end up ending together. So that's your circular movement, that's your circular movement. This is your dragon, that's your dragon. This, you're just taking this into this context. When we go like this, we're going to shift. This is called moving bridge. You move the bridge. Move the bridge is taking a circular movement. So when your hands come across, you learn how to redirect the force. We have this in Tai Chi, we have it in the other styles that we teach, Mudong, we have Yetimon. We have always moving. Once you intercept, then you have to move, right? You have to move the energy of what you just connected with in a direction. So if I go like this, I can pull like this. If I go like this, I can pull like this, depending on where you're taking it. Now, one of the things that's very important, especially when you do Gunji Kun, and you're in this dragon claw position, do not do this. How far do you go? You actually should be only like this. You don't need to make it into a big movement. It's useless to divert a force beyond your comfort level, because in this position, you're already off balance. Where's your balance point? The balance point is your supporting leg. So if you're here, your strength is here. That's as far as you have to go. And then it comes back again. If you come like this, that's as far as you have to go. You don't have to take it over here. In fact, once you deflect, you should come back. Deflect, come back. So deflecting is diverting just enough to clear your body. Once you clear, the movement should cycle by resort. It's a circle, and then you begin to cycle through. So in Kung Ji Kuen, we do this 3 times, or it's only because you're practicing a motion. You can take this movement out and practice over and over again until your body feels comfortable without excessive strength. You know, one of the things I see, a lot of people are using way too much strength at the wrong time. So you have to have a balance. So the body doesn't understand what it's supposed to be doing. It's because of this. This misunderstood it, so your body misunderstands it. So in order to actually get your body to do the movements correctly, you have to actually begin to understand and analyze what the whole purpose of these techniques are. And then your understanding changes, and then you evolve. You know, that's what advanced level understanding is. And then mastery level. Mastery level is that this stuff is all inputted into your system, and it's understood, you know, at many, many levels. So that's, you know, as a teacher or as, you know, someone progressing through the levels is something that you will really benefit from by understanding these basic concepts. So, I don't know, listen, we still got some time, right? Okay, so, you know, we all have staffs. Everybody has a staff. One of the things that we have to understand is when we use a staff, it's not really blocking and striking. You know, in the you know, styles of martial arts, there's lots of variations. Some people don't move their hands on the staff. We actually adjust the hands quite a bit. We adjust the hands because the weapon is an extension of the body. So the idea of movement has to be balanced. So we have this idea of yin and yang. Yin and yang means you don't push like that in the form. When we're in a position, you have to find your position to align. Just like you throw punches here. When we're like this, it should be eye level. Okay? Eye level, because that's your space. If I turn there or I turn there, has to do with how I adjust my lower half of the body in the stance. So you can see the magnification of the movement, okay? If I'm here, my elbows should be level and down. If I'm here, my hand should be like this and the body form should be like this, okay? If I'm swinging like this or pulling like this and pushing, this is really between here and here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a V. You're not doing this. This hand should be here. When you go like this, it should be tied to your body. That's what we call yin-yang hand. Your hands have to be one side dominant, the other side passive, in the sense that it's supporting. You know, like you row a boat, low, so you stick. This thing here is the fixed part. This part is the moving part. Okay, so when you move, and you move, and you move, and you move, the coordination between the hand and the leg does make a difference, because you have what we call the upper-lower coordination. So when we're here and we push and pull, see, the hands are doing this. So it should be a line across. It shouldn't go up and down. It should be here, 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 here. So where you thrust down like this, your position should be like this. Okay. Should your finger extend like this? Some people do this, some people do this. We don't do this because we don't want our finger exposed, and actually your finger is going to get in the way of many movements. So when you thrust, you just have to have your hand here to here. Okay. This knuckle should be on top. Okay. If you're here, you should should not take it up here. Why does it end up here? Because it didn't adjust here. You see, so if you bring your hand up, the two sides have to work together. So if you're here, it should be here. Why? Because if something comes here, you have to block like this, right? So do we have this position? How about when we're in Fukfu and we step? That's your position, right? So the extension of this weapon is working around the framework of your form or your body form. So if you're doing your movements like this and like this, when you go like this, you're going to be like this. You don't have the body form that actually creates the structure of what this apparatus should be doing. So when we're here, the hand is I, right? Sink, lift, sink, lift, push. One. This should be like this. Here, the power is in the sink. When you step, it should be in a poke. You see, so here, suspended horse. So this pushes, then it sets here. Step here, press, pull, push, drop. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, turning, boom, you drop. Set. So see, this should be like this, parallel to the floor. So you generate the strength from your transition and position. 1, 2, 1, 2. So between here and here is all you need to deflect. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. You see, so you look at your position, see if you have the correct framework, and that framework comes from the body form in your fist forms. And that's an example and a sample of what and why we need to understand our bridges. When the hand is like this, when the hand is like this, when it's like this, when we're like this, or like this. If you grab someone's arm and you go like this and you go like this, that's an arm bar, that's an arm break. When I take someone's arm and I push like this, the hand is here, the wrist, the elbow. Now you can see that you can damage someone's arm. So the idea of the weapon, and that really gives you a good interpretation of movement. So some of you know, let's say stick form, 8 diagram pole has similar concepts, and you go like this. So the idea of the monkey stick, or the monkey stick, you can see the body positioning. When you do a movement, you have to have the idea of this coordination. So the timing, the body mechanics, the position, the 45 degree, the up above, boom, 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 boom. All of this you can see a part of how your body has to work together. So when the body becomes familiar with the transition, then when you do your weaponry, whether it's the stick, the sword, the spear, just to give you some of the imagery, when you're here, you're like this. You step, boom, 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 right? You're here, here, here. That's how your body should be moving when you draw, when you thrust. So these are things, all of the things we talk about when we move. How about this? Do you have this movement other than the spear? How about when we go like this? Sweep. So these are transitions between this, 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 and this. We have to recognize, where those actions came from. And then you can start to go through your motions and start to develop the naturalness of movement. If movements are unnatural, how can they be applied? Impossible. It has to reach a level of naturalness, of body recognition, and eventually reflex action. So, this is a conditioned reflex. We build it over time. And once we build that conditioned reflex into the movements, then we start to begin to understand how important the body mechanics and form is. So, these are, for advanced strategies or whatever, I didn't go through sequential type things because that would take up 15 minutes of time going through a sequence that all of you know. If you don't know it, that's probably something else that has to be streamed out. But the thing is, we have tutorials on many of the basic forms from the first form, plum flower fist form, the Lao family fist form, those forms. That in itself is another, practice and learning. The old masters would say 10 years of form, 10 years of application. That's 20 years of fumbling through all of that. But, it's it is a process. We think out 20 years. Well, I don't want to study something for 20 years before I understand it. But it is a process because there's a lot of material to be digested. So on that note, till we have our next session, which is Tuesday morning, you can follow us there, and then we have different levels and different ideas that's going to be happening. I try to bring in interesting content so that you will tune in and find out, what you may be lacking, and then have some insight or maybe some eye-opening understanding of what you need to do in your own practice. If you have questions or you have something that specifically you want to work on, if you email us or chat us in a certain way, I could focus on, a bit of what you want to talk about if it doesn't involve too many things. But I could spend, a whole session on one thing, but, that could be boring for some people. So we try to keep it balanced so that everyone gets something out of this. All right, I'll see you next time. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy. One of the important things that I hear is